You're listening to Lucid Cafe. I'm your host, Wendy Halley. Welcome to the final episode of Season 6. Let me start by saying that it's not the episode I promoted at the end of the last episode. If you listen to that one, which explored Druidism or Druidry, whatever you'd like to call it, I had mentioned that my friend and astrologer / holistic sex educator / magic maker, Linda River Valente, was going to give us an astrological glimpse into the coming year. Well, when I went to start editing our conversation, I heard myself say on the recording, "Let me just adjust," and then nothing. And that's when I noticed that only 8 seconds had been recorded, and that those 8 seconds did not include my conversation with Linda. That's never happened in my 6 years of podcasting. Seriously. But fortunately, I had another equally cool conversation that I was saving for the next season to replace it, the details of which we'll get into in a second. But in case you were looking forward to my conversation with Linda, she, being the good sport that she is, has kindly offered to re-record our conversation in a couple of weeks. So, barring any fuck-ups on my part, Linda's astrological window into the, let's say, interesting time we're entering will open Season 7 in the fall. What can I say? I'm a knucklehead. All right, real quick update. The Become Your Own Shaman online introductory course is so close to launching, like weeks away. If I don't do something terrible to fuck that up too. Please sign up for my newsletter if you'd like to find out when you can learn how to dream while you're awake and connect with the unseen worlds. I am so excited for you to open these magical doors. Okay, for today's episode, I had the chance to speak with the very fun and engaging Samantha Bennett about how to tap into and explore the things that bring you joy in a way that's reasonable and not at all intimidating. I thought about calling this episode How to Get Your Head Out of Your Ass and Have Some Fun, but then thought better of it because I'm a saint. Saint Knucklehead. My father must be very proud. In this episode, I speak with Sam about her new book, The 15-Minute Method, The Surprisingly Simple Art of Getting It Done, which throws a lifeline to the overworked professional, the creative with too many unfinished projects, and the parent who rarely has a free moment. Sam's new book isn't just about productivity hacks or working more efficiently. Instead, it asks us to adjust our outlook and realize an important truth. We don't achieve more simply by doing more. We achieve more by doing more of the things that matter. All right, so Sam is a writer, speaker, actor, teacher, and creativity productivity specialist, and the author of the best-selling Get It Done, From Procrastination to Creative Genius in 15 Minutes a Day, which Seth Godin described as an instant classic, essential reading for anyone who wants to make a ruckus. This bestseller was followed up by Start Right Where You Are, How Little Changes Can Make a Big Difference for Overwhelmed Procrastinators, Frustrated Overachievers, and Recovering Perfectionists. She's the founder of therealsambennett.com, a company committed to helping overwhelmed creatives and frustrated overachievers get unstuck so you can prioritize, focus, and move forward on the goals that matter to you. She's also a wildly popular course instructor on LinkedIn Learning with over 500,000 participants and an average of 4.8 stars in a range of courses including Time Management for Busy People, How to Stop Wasting Time in Meetings, Embracing Times of Uncertainty, and How to Write Emails People Will Actually Read. Please enjoy my conversation with the real Sam Bennett. Sam, Thank you so much for joining me.
100% my pleasure. Thanks for having me. Hi, everybody.
Hi out there in podcast land. So you have an interesting relationship with time, it seems.
Okay.
Is that no, is that not? I mean, because that seems to be your thing, right? Is how we navigate our relationship with time.
It's a lot of my thing for sure. And I think I sort of feel like, oh, poor time and poor money. Like they just get blamed for everything, you know? Well, I would, I just don't have enough time. Well, I would, I just can't afford it. I mean, I would, there's just no time. I mean, there's just no time. I'm so busy. I'm so busy. I'm like, you're putting a lot on something that is, in as much as we know that there is such a thing as time, which could be debatable, but let's say there is.
It's
Uh,
debatable, yeah.
but let's say we're living in a world in
Hmm.
which there are clocks and time
Well,
is happening. Sure.
yeah.
How could you not have enough time?
Well, it's not
Everybody gets
time.
the same 24 hours. Like we're all dealing with the same hand. So
Right.
my maybe the relationship is less with time and more with the truth. Like, let's be honest with ourselves about, no, I'm choosing not to spend time on that right now. I feel embarrassed about the desire to spend time on that right now.
Gotcha.
I have an important feeling that what I do for everybody else is more important than what I do for myself. So that's how I'm making my decisions right now.
So it's not time's fault.
It's not time's fault.
It's not money's fault.
It's not money's fault. Time and
Okay.
money are like your little friends. They're your little furry friends following you around going, hey, hi, can I help? Hi, what can I do? I'm here. Hi.
Well, time is here to keep us organized, I guess, right? It's
I think and to help us notice our lives.
that's a good point. Yeah. Yeah, so you have written a book, The 15-Minute Method, The Surprisingly Simple Art of Getting It Done. And you've written lots of books in a similar vein. So that's what I was going to say is that this book is not about time management, really. How would you describe your message?
Yeah. The thing about productivity, true productivity, is that it's not about getting more done. It's about getting more of what matters done. And I think the key to feeling like one has had a successful life is not about getting more done, but rather getting more of what matters done. So, yeah, it's not as much as it's just hit number one in its category in time management. It's not actually a number one, it's not really a time management book. It's a joy management book. It's a life management book. It's a give yourself permission to do the shit that really matters to you book.
Mm-hmm.
And it is also a big hug and an acknowledgement that, yeah, you are busy and overscheduled, and you've got too many things going on, and your kids need you, and your parents need you, and you've got this, and you've got that. And it's not easy. All this productivity stuff is like, well, just buy my system, just get this new planner, just do like, there's tactic and strategies, and some of those will work and some of those don't. But there's also values. And if you align more closely with your values and your zone of creative genius and the thing you're really on this planet to do, the tactic and strategies can kind of figure themselves out.
Do you have any theories as to why we've gotten into this place where we've got disconnected from what's important to us?
Well, they sat us down when we were about 3.5 and said, sit here, do this, learn this. This is the right way. That way is the wrong way. Be productive, be interesting, not too interesting. Be demanding, not too demanding. Stand up for yourself, but don't be arrogant. Be interesting, but don't be weird. I mean, nonstop our entire lives we've been getting these messages about like fit in but don't fit in, be special but not too special. So we want to be approved of. We're tribal animals. We like to live in a group. That's how we know we can survive, as if we're in a group. We know we cannot survive alone, right? Whenever people are like, I'm a people pleaser, I'm like, of course you are. Like, by design. Yes, that's not a character defect. uh Sacrificing everything that's important to you on behalf of others, that's a character defect. Like that could use some looking at. But the fact that you generally have a desire to say yes and be nice is great.
All right, let's highlight that, folks, right there. It's not a character defect. All right. Yeah, no, that's a good reminder. So yeah, one of the things that I noted when I was reading your book, because I guess my first impression was like, all right, it's for people who are struggling with procrastination, like they're having a tough time getting things done. And I think there is a piece of that in your book, but there's also, it's for the people like you were just describing who are crazy driven or just have very busy lives. And that's the reason why they're not getting the stuff that's important to them done. And that's an interesting thing because we don't usually focus on that, do we?
Well, that's exactly where the genesis of the book is. I notice that all the people I know, all the people on my list, all the people I interact with, everyone, we get very busy doing everything for everybody else all day long. And the things that we know would really make a difference to us, to our heart, to our body, to our spirit, to our family, to our finances, those things don't even make it onto the list. It's not even like we don't get them, like it's not even on the list.
Right.
So I would like to create a worldwide revolution. I'd like to start now. I'd like you all to take the pledge and do it with me. I would like to see everyone, let's start with 1 million. Let's say 1 million people. I'd like to see 1 million people spending 15 minutes a day, every single day, on something that matters to them. I don't care if it matters to anybody else. I don't care if anybody else even knows about it. 15 minutes a day of something that matters to you. So not make the dentist appointment, check the email list. No. Matters to you. And maybe that's singing or dancing or playing guitar or sitting in the garden or teaching your lizards to do backflips. I don't know what it is for you, but spend 15 minutes a day doing that and then notice how the rest of the day rolls out.
I think it would take a little bit longer than 15 minutes to teach your lizard to do backflips,
Not if you're doing it every single day.
but if you start, yeah, every day,
Yeah.
like you wouldn't get it done in one 15-minute session is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, it's not about getting it done. It's about doing.
Right. So then, do you ever encounter the feedback where folks are saying, I don't even know what's important to me. I don't even know what matters.
Fantastic. What a great opportunity you have to spend 15 minutes a day making lists of all the weird things you might be interested in trying and then picking one and trying it. Or spending 15 minutes a day staring at a blank piece of paper. Because 15 minutes of enforced boredom never hurt a person. When was the last time you spent 15 minutes staring at a blank piece of paper and did not reach for your phone?
Right. But I'm thinking, would they feel like a failure because the paper's still blank by the end of the 15 minutes?
No, because they've fulfilled the assignment of spend 15 minutes a day on something that matters to you.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. All right. So it's not necessarily the goal of getting something down on the paper. It's more of just sitting and being with yourself.
Yeah, acknowledging that at one point you had desires and now you're not sure what they are. I have an exercise that I repeat a number of times in the book, which is a 90-second doodle. This is great for when you're emotionally stuck like this, or even you maybe even do know what you want to do, but you think there's no way. There's no way. I can't do it. I'm too old. Other people disapprove. It's too expensive. Whatever it is, whatever your reasons are for not doing it. I want to be a Hollywood movie star. I'm 57. Nobody knows who I am. Like, Sam, that can't happen in 15 minutes a day. But can it? Right? So first, let's just start acknowledging that you have desires. And that in fact, the desire is sort of the gas in your tank. I mean, you have to admit the things that you really, really want to do, you pretty much do. And the things you really, really don't want to do, you pretty much don't do, except under extreme duress, right?
True.
So that's like everybody. That's not a character defect. That's all of us. And starting to take these baby steps. And on the one hand, it sounds too simple. I like to think of it as subversively simple. But the fact of the matter is, it is amazing how much you can get done in 15 minutes. It is amazing how much you can get done in 15 minutes every day for a week or a month or 6 months or 6 years or 60 years. It is amazing the exponential effect of spending 15 minutes on something that matters to you has on the rest of your life. And I can hear that thought of like, well, but Sam, that would be selfish. That's selfish of me to take that time for myself. I can't take that time for myself. Work needs me. My kids need me. My family no, they don't. Not for 15 minutes, they don't. Don't be silly. And here's what's really selfish. What's genuinely selfish is you walking around stressed out and exhausted and with no sense of humor. And the rest of us have to deal with you like that. That is selfish behavior. That is putting an onus on us. Right? On the other hand, You take 15 minutes to write some crappy poetry, do your paint by numbers, get those lizards flipping, clean out the garage, whatever it is. And all of a sudden, you get that delightful, there's got to be a better word than smugness, but that's kind of what I mean. That like the same look you have when you got to the gym first thing in the morning, or you had really great sex the night before. You're like, hi, that's right. How's it going? I'm awesome. Right? You have that little light in your eyes,
Little
you're more
swagger.
reflective, you slow down, you're a better listener. We love that version of you. We love that version of you.
So you're suggesting by taking 15 minutes a day that you can be that version of yourself more frequently.
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't that be a dream if it was the norm that
Yeah.
you were that all the time and then just like your off times were just random, sporadic?
Yeah. Why let busy, stressed out, and overwhelmed be your constant state?
Oh, our culture. Yeah, we're
Well, and our agreement with our culture.
yeah, exactly. Well, to go against the grain though, I mean, I think people would get into, well, it's for survival. I have to do this because I have to pay the bills. I have to
Right.
keep the roof over my head and
Right. But again, we're talking about a false economy there, right? I'll just work harder and harder and harder until I'm completely burnt out and overwhelmed. Right. That's how that story goes. If I just keep pushing, if I keep depriving myself of everything that matters to me, if I keep only putting other people's needs ahead of my own, what's the end of that story?
mm, regret,
Right.
right?
Drastic maneuvers. There's a thing in corporate called, I think they call it off ramping. It's when people just quit their job. They
Oh
don't have
yeah,
a
I've heard
plan.
about
They're not
that.
going to grad school. They don't fucking know what they're doing. Can I swear on
Mm.
this podcast?
You
Sorry.
can you can say whatever the fuck you want. Yes.
Awesome. They don't know what the fuck they're going to do. They're like, I'm out of here. Like, and they quit and they
Mm-hmm.
deprive that organization of all of their knowledge capital, of all of their hard learned skill sets because they're just burnt. Right. So here's the other half of my plan for the revolution. And this has to do
Please.
with corporate. So I've never had a job in corporate America. I've had every other job. I've been a whitewater river guide. I've been a barista. I've produced radio dramas. I delivered flowers. I've done everything. Never had a job in corporate America. So I don't know if this would work. You all can write me and tell me. I keep reading about how 77% of employees are disengaged. 77% of
I was going to
employees
say that could be
disengaged.
low too.
That could be low. It depends which study you look at. There's different
Hmm.
ones from different times. But overall, the number I see is around 3/4. Can you imagine if 3/4 of your friends were disengaged or if 3/4 of your money went away? Like, that's a lot.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
And it strikes me that that is a very expensive problem to have people that you are paying to walk around your building or be on your Zooms or whatever that do not care about what's
Yeah.
happening. So my big plan is that corporate says, hey, everybody, we have noticed that you are a person with a life outside this building. So from here on in, between 4:15 and 4:30, or between 7:45 and 8 a.m., or whatever you want to call it, that's your time. That's your time to work on your thing in whatever way capacity you want. And let's not have it be a work thing. Let's not have it be, again, clearing out your inbox or making your dentist appointment. Let's have it be something that matters to you. And maybe it's going for a walk, sitting out in the sunshine, doing some needlework. I don't know, whatever it is, practicing your ukulele. Now, first of all, I just think that would be an awesome gesture. I just think,
No, it'd be lovely. Yeah.
that just saying, we get it, that you're a person with things you want to do. Like, that's cool. But also, here's what happens. And there's a bunch of studies that back this up too. So we have our 50 minutes a day. Now we're in a meeting. And rather than say, hi, I'm Sam from sales, I'm going to say, hi, I'm Sam from sales. And here's how I spent my 15 minutes today. Hi, I'm Sam from sales. I spent my 15 minutes today working on some needlepoint that I started, a project I started for my goddaughter, who is now when she was born, and she's now about to graduate from high school. So I'm super excited to get it done. And, now we go around the room and everybody else is saying something. Now, not only does this just give a lovely bit of conviviality to the room, but people will make better decisions. They will be more creative in their responses. They will be better problem solvers because you have reminded them of the fullness of themselves. They're not just coming to that with the I am Sam from sales hat on. They're wearing their full, oh, I have godchildren, and I do needlepoint, and I have family, and they're bringing all that to the table. And then that person down at the end of the table that I have never liked very well tells me that she's been doing cross stitch. And now we can be needlework friends and talk about embroidery floss and other things and you know what we call that? Engagement.
Yeah. And
That's
it
people being
gives,
engaged with each other.
yeah, exactly. And it also makes your colleagues more human.
All
If
had that, right? That
right.
especially that person that you're like, oh, I don't get them, or I don't like them, or I don't think they like me, or whatever. I remember having a meeting with a bank manager one time, a very snooty bank. I thought they were going to loan me some money. I was sadly mistaken about that part. Uh, Years and years and years ago. But the guy was asking me like what I did, and I was telling him about how I, help people encourage their own creativity and spend more time on the things that matter to them. Because we've all heard that hospice study, right? Of the people who get to the end of their lives and their number one regret is, I wish I hadn't spent so much time doing what I thought everybody else wanted me to do.
I hadn't heard that, but it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So this guy and I are talking, and he's sort of getting more and more interested about what I do. And he says, well, this is really fascinating. He says, all of a sudden, Mr. Buttoned Up Blue Suit Bank Manager says, I make jewelry out of sea glass.
What?
I said, I'm sorry, you what? Yeah, he says, my wife and I live by the beach. We love to go walking every day on the beach, and we sometimes find sea glass, and then I have a soldering iron and I make jewelry out of it. And I'm like, now I love you forever because you make
Even
beautiful.
if you're going to deny me.
Well, and I'll tell you what, he did deny me the loan. In fact, I think he even looked at my application. He's like, we shouldn't even put this through. Like, you're not ready. I was not ready for that, for what they had to offer. That part of it was not a good match. But then he was like, I'm in charge of speakers for the Montecito Rotary. Would you like to come speak to the Montecito
Ah,
at the Montecito Country Club, where we have the 4-star chef preparing the lunch, and you can sell books in the back of the room, and
amazing.
right, amazing. But would that connection have happened if I hadn't found out about him and his sea glass?
Yeah, that's a great point. It makes someone more, I guess, fully dimensional rather than one dimensional. And based on our first impressions, I mean, our first impressions are, I think, frequently wrong.
Well, sometimes they're wrong. Sometimes they're just the first.
Yeah,
Sometimes
yeah,
there's so much more to
that's
come.
true.
And I use the example in the book of sometimes, and this is sort of based on a real person that I know, and she's amazing, but she can be very abrupt. She's very cut to the chase. She always is like knows all the facts and figures, and I find her a little cut and dry and a little abrupt, a little like. But then you find out that she was an Olympic equestrian. Like, oh,
Oh, yeah,
okay. So now your discipline, your drive, your what I perceive as maybe nitpickiness, or you're wanting to do things by the rules, whatever it is, this all makes a lot more sense to me now because
yeah.
I get it that you are this kind of person. You're not being who you are to me, right? And now I can maybe appreciate what you bring a little bit more. And also, you might have some good ideas about where my niece should go to writing camp, like.
I love those examples. Yeah, and I mean, not just getting to know other people in a deeper way, but also getting to know yourself in a deeper way. Because once you try something you always thought would be the perfect thing that you always wanted to do, you will find out if it really is indeed the thing that you thought it was.
Right, which is why I'm a big fan of like skip the first step. Like a lot of times people have a big idea for something. This happens a lot with the high creatives that I work with, right? They have a million ideas all the time and they're always very complex. And you feeling a little called out. But me too. I mean, this is how I have this job, is because I get it. This is the person I am too. And it's a little like, I've got to clean out the garage. That's the big project. I have to do it. And we have this vision of the garage clean, and it's gorgeous. And we think, well, I need 2 free weekends for that. Well, first of all, yeah, really? What 2 free? Show me those 2 free weekends, would you? Because I don't have
Mhm.
them. I'm imagining you don't have them either. And if you did have them, I'm not imagining that you really want to spend them in the garage.
Right.
So, however, let's take this 15-minute a day approach. Let's take your Stanley tumbler or your mug of some tea or a can of beer or whatever it is you like, and why not go out to the garage and contemplate the garage for 15 minutes? Just be there with the garage. Notice what you notice about the garage. No punishment, no, just hang out there. And maybe towards the end of the 15 minutes, or maybe the next day in your next 15 minutes, you go, wait a minute, those 7 boxes are my brother's. That's not even mine. Right? And then you call him up, Jeffrey, come get your thing. And then maybe the third 15 minute, you like look in one of those Rubbermaid things. You're like, oh, that's Christmas stuff. Okay, well, I can write Christmas on the outside of it and I can put it towards the back because the Christmas stuff I only need once a year. Great, done. Next day, little bit. Next day, little bit. I bet you can get that garage turned around way quicker than you think you do. And without like, oh, I've got to call the garage people and oh, I've got to have 2 free weekends and oh, I need to know perfectly inside of my mind how this is going to go. Just start and see what happens.
Right. So do you think we're getting caught up in that whole philosophy of business before pleasure? Like you were saying before, you're alluding to like you keep putting off what's important to you because you got to get this other shit done.
I'm getting increasingly convinced that if your business is not pleasure, you're going to be in big trouble.
I'll drink to that.
Cheers. You know?
What would the world be like, right, if everyone was doing at least one thing that they really love?
Again, even just for 15 minutes a day. And it's funny and sweet. I see people sort of doing this anyway. We tend to sort of take the jobs that we've had, and I've had plenty of, like I said, I've had lots and lots of jobs, and we sort of bend them to be the things that we are and that we like to do. I am always extremely touched that in every office I've ever been in, there is a birthday person.
Yeah.
There is the person who has taken it upon themselves to find out what everybody's birthday is, and they get the cupcakes and they pass around the cards. Julie's birthday, here, sign the card, and oh, they do something special in the break room, and I'm always like, really? Wow. And you say, really? You do all this? They're like, oh, I don't mind. I like it. I like it. It's fun for me. I don't mind. And they're like, and I was like, really? Because I don't care about my birthday, and I don't care about your birthday, and I don't really care about anybody's birthday, and I'm not much of a celebrator, and I don't enjoy parties, but I'm fascinated by the fact that you do and you are. And clearly allowing this person to take on this unpaid labor of engagement, acknowledgement,
Right.
celebration
That
is
brings them
great
joy.
work, right? Gives them some joy, gives the office some joy. And if we wanted to make this person's life even better, maybe we could lean into those things a little bit. You know, maybe they become the daily complimenter because they're so good at acknowledging people, and they could just walk around the office every day and go, here's what I noticed about you that you did amazing today. Here's what I noticed about you that you're incredible at. I don't know. I'm inventing things, but that would work for me because I don't care about birthdays, but I do care about verbal praise.
I don't think you're alone in that.
If you came around and gave me
Yeah.
a compliment every day, I would work twice as hard. No question.
All right. That's the secret to Sam.
Right? That's the
Yeah.
secret to Sam. It's true. It's true.
Yeah. I really like that example of the birthday person in the office in your book because it's true. I have known that person in every office I've worked
Right.
into. Hmm.
And it's easy to sort of go like, well, maybe they should have a career in event planning. Maybe.
Maybe.
But maybe that's not what's driving it. You know, maybe, like I said, it's the need for connection. Maybe it's a gift for enthusiasm and celebration. Maybe it's, I don't know, but really finding those things that turn you on for just keeping that candle lit inside of yourself for 15 minutes a day, I think is epic.
Hmm.
If you can spend more of your time or find more ways to do the thing, to bring your zone of genius into your work, into your life. And when I say zone of genius, what I mean is that thing that you've always been really interested in and kind of good at that everybody else is like, what? You do what? You're driving to where to pay how much to go to an exhibition about what? And you're like, no, I like it. I like it. I'm into it. If somebody woke you up at 3 a.m. and said, hey, we're going to go XYZ, you want to come? You'd be like, yeah, where are my shoes? Hold on. Where? Okay. That, whatever
That
that is
thing.
your
Yeah.
zone of creative genius. And hat tip to Gay and Katie Hendricks and their work on zones of creative genius and zones of genius. But that's your gift. You didn't ask to be like that. You didn't ask to be good at that. You just are and always have been. You came this way.
Well, hopefully people are not so disconnected from themselves that they've lost touch with that part of themselves. But you have a lot of great exercises to help
Yeah.
spark that creativity and help you to, I guess, get reunited with yourself in a way that you probably haven't been since you were a kid.
Right. Well, and that's the other part of it is sometimes people do know what it is, but it's got a lot of grief piled on top of it because it's been a minute. You know?
Right. Yeah.
So yes, you may not be able to pursue gymnastics the way you could when you were 12. That's
Yeah,
probably
there's
true,
that. There's some
right?
things that are just not.
There's some things that are just not going to be physically
Yeah.
possible for you right now. However, the things you loved about gymnastics, you can absolutely have in your life right now.
Hmm.
Even if it's just stretching and practicing your
I'm thinking Pilates is like gymnastics cheating
maybe Pilates, or maybe yeah, just improvise a little floor
on a reformer.
routine.
Yeah.
Improvise the old lady gymnastics floor routine for 15 minutes, right? And
Yeah.
every health and wellness person out there will tell you that 15 minutes of daily movement of any kind is going to do you a world of good.
Absolutely. I want to get back to regret because I think that's trying to avoid regret. I've said this before in the podcast, talking about the greatest gift my mom gave me before she died, besides giving me life, was the importance of not having regret when you die because you don't know when it's going to happen. Not to get morose, but it's true. It's just, it's a reality. And if you have the luxury of a deathbed, you do not want to be on that deathbed asking the question, what if?
I'll do you one better. You also
Okay.
do not want to be haunting your own memorial service, having people say, well, she was very well behaved. He followed every rule.
Hmm.
He met
Paid
every expectation anybody had for him.
paid every bill on time.
That's right. Never put a
Amazing.
foot
Yeah.
wrong. Amazing. Her
Yeah.
tile grout, impeccable.
Yeah.
You don't want that. You don't want
No,
that.
no.
You want them
Oh,
going, that crazy bitch got every bit of juice out of that orange.
right, right. Yeah, yeah. Just, you don't want all your dreams to be buried with you.
Right? And I'm so glad you brought this up because yes, it does have a reputation of being a little grim, but I don't know why. I mean, first of all,
It's
death is one of the great inevitabilities.
it is the only thing we know for sure.
It's the only thing we know for sure. And everyone who's been says it's great,
It's true.
right?
Yep.
Everyone who's been says it's amazing. So I don't feel like we have anything to worry about with that. It's sad for us when our friends go. That's hard for us, but I don't think it's hard for them. Just my big opinion. But it's really it's the reason that I write books and it's the reason I have the business that I do is because I am a little obsessed with the fact that we're all going to die and that we have no idea when that day is. I'm always reading those articles like the plane crashes into the person's house while they're sleeping.
Mm,
I'm always like, see,
it- you never know. You
you
just
never
don't
know.
know. Yeah.
You are there innocently having eaten your brand cereal that morning. And the next thing you know, there's a plane crashing in your house that's all over.
Physically, you no longer exist. Yeah.
Physically, you no longer exist. So we do not have an unlimited amount of time to get our work out there. We do not know how much time that is. So quit waiting for some perfect time. Quit waiting for some perfect moment when you have the confidence and the time and the money in the bank. It's not, that day's not coming. Especially the confidence part. This makes me crazy. I'm like, well, I would do that, but I don't have any confidence. I'm like, of course you don't. Confidence is a result.
Ooh, good point.
It is not a pre-existing condition,
You have to
right? You
earn
don't feel confident you can jump off the high dive before you jump off the high dive. You're terrified, you jump off the high dive, then you have confidence that you can jump off the high dive because you did it. But until you do it, the confidence is not available to you.
it.
Right.
Right. Right. No.
So quit waiting for some perfect time and just start doing even the teeniest, tiniest, lamest, most half-assed version possible. That's the other thing I like about 15 minutes is that hopscotches right over the perfectionism.
Yeah, yeah. We should probably talk about that a little bit. How do you avoid doing the perfect 15 minutes?
Again, this is
Well,
where I just want to walk around giving everybody a big hug and go, honey, put down the whip. God, you know, like of all the places and times in your life to be worried about perfect, this 15 minutes that you're taking for yourself seems like not not the highest and best use of your time. And again, it's 15 minutes. How perfect is it going to be? And you're going to do it again tomorrow. And is there something more interesting than perfect that you could be aiming for?
and why perfect?
And why perfect? What value does perfect have to you? I think mostly for most people, it means uncriticizable.
Ah,
impervious to attack.
So would you suggest then that perfectionism is really driven by concern for what other people think or concern for what you think of yourself?
Both. Both. I think the concern about what other people think is most common, and again,
Unless you're a sociopath, yeah.
right, and totally understandable. Like,
Yeah.
yes, you are supposed to care about what other people think.
Hmm.
That's right. It really hurts my heart when I hear people say things like, well, if it can't be perfect, why would I even try?
Yeah.
And I think, is that what you're teaching your children?
Ouch.
Is that what you want your children to believe? I feel the same way when I have mothers who are like, well, I have to do everything for the kids first, and then and there's no time for me to do my writing, to do my thing. I'm like, again, is that what you want to teach your children?
Yeah, exactly. Your
And
role
that's what wives
modeling.
and mothers are for? That's what
Yep.
fathers and men are for? To sacrifice and put everything else for it? I don't think that's the message you want to teach them. I think the message you want to teach them is be resilient. Figure it out for 15 minutes. I'm busy doing something that matters to me because I am the mom. And I get to say,
Yeah. Has that gotten lost a bit?
oh, for sure. I'm the eldest of 13 grandchildren. My mother was my grandmother's eldest daughter, eldest of 5. So I'm the eldest daughter of the eldest daughter. So there's a lot of eldest daughter things going on. But
Gotcha.
my grandmother used to put us all to bed by doing this. For those of you who can't see me, I'm raising one eyebrow, and she would say, bed.
Done.
And that was it. We were up.
Nobody questioned.
We put
Yes.
on our footy pajamas. We
Off to
went.
bed with you. Yeah.
Now, we may have snuck around and played slipper tag for a while after that. She didn't know about that part. But there was none of this. Now, I tried most of my adult life to have children and did not, which makes me a parenting expert. So, but I do think this endless negotiation of bedtime, not only for our children, but for us, right? I hear it all the time about like, oh, yeah, I try to go to bed at 10, but then I start doom scrolling and it's 12:30 before I actually turn out the light.
Yeah. Those are all great points. What are your thoughts on discipline? Like healthy discipline versus unhealthy discipline?
I think discipline as it applies to oneself is a little bit of a lie. Because again, it's the kind of thing I hear a lot from people. Well, I just need more discipline. I just need more willpower. I know what I need to do. I just need to make myself do it. And I always want to call bullshit. Like, I think it is much more likely that you have had some ideas about how to proceed. Those ideas bore the ass off you, and now you don't know what to do.
Hmm.
Because you think your first instinct about like, maybe I could just do this crazy weird thing, you have crossed off the list. And now you think it's a willpower issue or a discipline issue when it probably isn't.
It makes me wonder too, like I'm thinking about when I studied martial arts or my shamanic practice and the discipline. I mean, a lot of discipline was involved, or maybe it was more commitment in that, or consistency is a better word. Like I had to be consistent with it, the practice in order to get better. But if you are doing something perhaps that does not bring you joy, is not exciting, then it would feel like torture. It would feel like discipline, like in the negative sense of the word.
Right. And I really question this cultural belief of like it only counts if it's hard. You
Yeah,
know,
what's that about, do you think?
what's that
Where did that
about?
come from?
I don't know. I mean, again, I think we can just safely say patriarchy, but the
Yeah,
dynamic,
yeah, no, that's where my head was going too.
don't
Yeah,
trust your natural and native abilities. If this isn't causing you to weep with exhaustion, it's not really worthwhile.
that's what this
When,
country was founded on, right?
gosh darn it, my
Fierce independence and survival and
that's right. Yeah, severe self-sufficiency disorder,
mhm.
wrong to ask for help, don't be these things. Yeah, and we all know that when I was a camp counselor, we used to say to the kids, "You don't have to, you get to. You don't have to clean up after lunch, you get to." And I think all of us I think people in general like to do hard things when they're interesting and joyful to us.
Yeah, that's a good differentiation to make.
So, yeah, I think the question is, can you show up for yourself? Can you show up for your desire? I think the discipline is in not believing everything you think.
Hmm.
The discipline is in understanding that voice in your head that says, who do you think you are? No one cares. Don't get too big for your britches. You don't have time for this. You can't afford this. Work harder, head down, quit fucking around. The discipline is going, thank you, voice. Peace out.
Right.
I'll be back to you in another 15 minutes, but for right now, I'm going to spend 15 minutes on something that matters to me.
Yeah, exactly. And the discipline of that would be to continually do that every time you go against the grain of yourself, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And really asking, I think the larger question about discipline is really interesting. I certainly found this with my niece and nephew. I would ask them to do something or encourage them to do something or order them to do something, and they would push back for whatever reason. And I felt that impulse to parent the way I was parented of like, you will do this because I am telling you to.
Right.
And the desire to go, hold the phone. Is this actually important? Do I care that they sit at the dining room table to eat dinner? Does that actually matter? Or is it okay if they sit on the floor over there on a cushion? Who cares? Right? Do I care if they don't eat their peas? It's one serving of peas in a lifetime of green vegetable. Like, I think it'll be like, am I really, am
Yeah.
I using, if I have a certain amount of disciplinary authority as Auntie Sam, what am I using it on?
Mm. Well, I think what you're pointing out is how we're wired habitually, kind of. I'm fond of saying that I think humans are 95 to 99% unconscious when we're awake, that we're just creatures of habit. And so, I mean, these things are so deeply ingrained, and that's what's cool about your book is that you're helping to bring attention to the things that we're not paying attention to
Yes.
in a fun way, in a creative way, in a non-intimidating way.
Thank you. Yeah, that's definitely the idea. And to just uh, I don't know, hat tip to my brothers and sisters out there. I've talked about in the book, I've had long haul COVID for the last 2.5 years.
Oh,
So yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. I don't know anyway. I cannot be good or brave about
I'm
this.
sorry.
It
Yeah, that
sucks. Yeah,
sucks.
thank you.
Yeah.
And so for those of you also out there suffering with chronic and especially invisible illnesses, it's a bear. And a lot of this book was written in 15-minute increments. A lot of this book was edited in 15-minute
It was
because
all you
that's all
had.
I had.
Yeah.
When you got 2 teaspoons of energy, the
Oh
discipline that
man.
runs is becomes completely immaterial. It's like I can be as disciplined as I want, but if I can't get out of bed, I can't get out of bed. And not only can't get out of bed, but like rolling over in bed seems really ambitious.
Oh, that's horrible.
It's really bad.
It just
There are
sucks,
times I
man.
can't even read.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh.
I've never not been able to read. My mother says I overcame car sickness by sheer force of will because all I wanted to do when I was a kid was read.
And that will is not there for you right now. I mean, you just don't have
It's
it.
it's just not there. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, I hope that this resolves in some way.
Agreed. Thank you. Me too. But the fact of the matter is everybody's carrying around something. Everybody's carrying invisible bowling balls, right? Everybody's struggling. Everybody
Hmm.
has a weight that is especially hard for them.
Yeah.
And this is the other thing I want to say because people say, well, sure, Sam can build a six-figure business. Sure, Wendy can have a podcast and be a shaman. No, sure, so and so, they're good looking, they're rich, they've got this, they've got that. It must be easier for them. No,
Damn straight.
I guarantee you it is 100% not easier. There's nothing about this that is easier. We just have this commitment to this idea. We just have this commitment to this work. We just have this insatiable desire to get this message out into the world in this way. And I had a coach who used to say, and you'd say, like, why aren't I getting the results I want? He'd say, because you don't want it bad enough.
Well, I
Well,
mean,
yeah, not
there's something
not
to that. Yeah.
not wrong. It's certainly an interesting question. Certainly a good point of inquiry.
Yeah, and it would whittle down a lot of things maybe that you're spending time on that you maybe it's just you don't have passion. I love the idea of following what excites you.
Yeah, follow the sparkly breadcrumbs and do a different thing every day for a year. I don't care, whatever.
Whatever. Yeah.
Whatever. Follow the sparkly breadcrumbs and see where it leads you. Don't be so attached to outcome. Again, it's 15 minutes. What's going to happen? You know, like, just start noticing what you like and what you
Mm.
want and where's the easy path and where's the too easy and where's the what? People get paid for that? What? But everybody can do that. No, they can't. Just you.
Okay. Well, the shrink in me wants to address the folks who might be listening who say that I feel like I'm failing at the 15 minutes. If you leave the 15 minutes and you're not feeling good, it might be a good idea to talk to someone to see what's going on behind the scenes that you're not catching.
It is certainly, so I've lived with depression and anxiety my whole life. And it's weird because when I was a kid, there was no such thing as childhood depression. So,
No, there wasn't, right? There wasn't a lot of things.
there wasn't a lot of things. We, we weren't neuroatypical. We were just weird.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear
We
that.
were just a
Are
weird,
you
weird
a
kid.
Gen Xer?
I am a Gen Xer.
Yeah,
Yes.
that
Yeah.
so the latchkey experience and the
100%.
I mastered that.
At
Yeah.
9, I was
Yeah.
coming home from school by myself, making my sister a snack. Yeah, that was
Yep,
the
me
whole deal.
too. Yep.
So yeah, this is where we get a little bit of self-sufficiency disorder too, right? No,
Yeah, exactly.
it's not even that we don't want to accept help. We just don't even, it doesn't even cross our minds that help is available. It's not part of our experience. But yes, I will say for sure that one of the signs I know when my depression is really kicking, it's always sort of there as kind of wallpaper, but when it's really kicking into gear, is that exact thing you just said. Like, I feel like a failure no matter what I do. And even if I'm getting that verbal praise that I love so much and everybody's going, yeah, you're amazing, that's awesome, I can't feel it.
It doesn't hit. Yeah.
Doesn't hit, can't feel it. The anhedonia, right? The inability to take pleasure in anything. Hedonism, too much pleasure. Anhedonia, inability to take pleasure. On the one hand, I think it's kind of a superpower because I don't look for things to feel good before I do them.
Okay.
Um, you know, um, and yeah, I really I think sometimes people feel overwhelmed in their lives because they're actually underwhelmed. You've got a whole list of things to do that you don't give a crap about. So no wonder you feel tired before you even start.
Yeah.
There's nothing feeding you on there. But I also think, could you experiment with feeling amazing about yourself for 15 minutes? Could you dedicate the 15 minutes to that? 15 minutes of just writing out a list of every compliment everyone's ever given you, or every compliment you wish you had gotten.
I love that. Yeah.
You know, could you draw flattering self-portraits? Could you be your own hype man? Could you, like, orgasm a day, like whatever it takes.
I saw that in there. I was like, all right. Yeah.
Yeah, sure, why not? What does it take so that you have at least a moment or a flash every day of going, all right, that's not bad. That's pretty good. Pretty good,
Hmm.
mate.
Yeah.
And I have a thing called the Daily Practicum. It's a subscription thing. People can buy it. They every weekday at 12 noon Eastern, 9 Pacific, 5 British summertime. We get on the Zoom, wave, timer, 15 minutes, timers goes off. And these faces, these literally like with a post-orgasmic glow, I don't think that's what they were doing, but
Maybe.
shines up at me and they're like, I can't believe it. I did it. I had a pile like this on my desk and now it's like this. I called that person that I've been putting off calling for 6 weeks. I've been putting off calling that person. I sat in the garden with the sun on my face. I texted my friend that I know is suffering. I did the thing that mattered to me. And now I feel amazing.
Beautiful.
Right? And some people show up every day. Some people show up occasionally. Some people never show up, but the fact that they paid for it and it's on their calendar makes them do it anyway. Guys, I'm not your mom. This is not school. You are not in the army. Like 15 minutes a day, let's say you do it 3 times last week. Guess what? That's 45 minutes more than you did the week before.
So you're saying you offer a subscription for folks to do the 15 minutes with you?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's for people who are really needing that structure.
They call it body doubling or parallel play. And for the ADD, ADHD, ODD, neurospices among us, that there's something about that being in a room with other people also working. I mean, we're tribal animals.
Right, right.
Everybody else is there and they got their head down, like you'll do that too. There's a certain amount of positive peer pressure of, oh, I've got my friends, I'm there every week. If I'm not there, they're gonna work. There's a certain amount of mommy sees me, you know.
Hmm.
And sometimes it's like I said, 15 minutes of staring at a blank piece of paper. Sometimes you sit down for 15 minutes and get up 4 hours later. I mean, I don't know how this is going to roll out for you. But I know that what you're doing right now is not entirely working.
Mm.
So what is a simple, easy, efficient strategy that even the busiest of people can find 15 minutes just for you?
I was just thinking how sad it is that we even need to have this conversation. I mean, it's great that we're having it, but it's sad that we need to have it.
It is. It is. But again, I'm hoping we can spark a revolution.
Yeah, I'll get behind that. Yeah, not much of an activist, but I will definitely promote that.
Thank you. I am also not much of an. We're going to need to get some activists in here.
Yeah, yeah.
Some people
That
who like,
that
I don't know.
they get
But
all fired up and get their placards out and
exactly, get everybody on board. The joiners, the joiners of the world. We love that. Yeah, we can make it a cult. Cults are
yeah,
popular.
cults
They're
are fascinating and
fascinating.
yeah, and this could
Really,
be
everything
a
about them except the taking away of the free will. But other than that, super.
yeah.
It's so interesting the construct that people may. What are the qualities of cults? So, like, you need a new name.
Yep, you lose your identity. You have to
Us
wear a
against them.
certain
We have,
outfit.
oh
There's
yeah.
the promise of something that you're working towards.
Mhm.
You need a charismatic leader.
Right. There's the us against them, right? We've got the inside
Mhm.
line on the truth. They
That's
don't
right.
know. We know.
Yep.
Which is, I
And you
think,
have to,
why people so often get hoodwinked into them because they're smart. They like to know. They like to be on the inside line. And if
that's a great point too. Yeah. Yeah, so
Mhm.
you feel like you're in a special elite group. So the 15-minute cult.
Yeah,
Okay. Everyone's invited.
everyone's invited, and you can
You
leave
can
whenever you
wear
want.
whatever you want
Wear
though.
whatever you want. You can keep your name or change it. I don't care. Just spend 15 minutes on something that matters to you. That's all. Dust off those hobbies, people.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've written these books and then you have this subscription. Are there other ways in which people can work with you? Or do you do
I teach all kinds
workshops
of
or
classes. I've got a bunch of courses on LinkedIn. I have over 1 million students on LinkedIn, which is,
holy shit.
I know, I
Look
am
at you.
surprised as well. Yes,
Very fancy.
very fancy, especially for me, who's again never darkened the doors of corporate America, and yet
You're probably talking with a lot of corporate America.
I am. But I think I get an edge because I think most business trainings are unspeakably dull.
I'm with you.
So I think
That's my
the
psychotherapy practices specializes in workplace wellness.
aha. So there you go. So I think the fact that I am slightly not unspeakably dull,
Mhm.
like, congratulations, I win. Yeah, so LinkedIn, I'm on all the socials as the real Sam Bennett. I do a live every week that broadcasts to all the platforms. So I'm the real Sam Bennett on all the socials. My website's therealsambennett.com. The big thing to do would be to get on my email list because really that's how all the information goes out. I try to remember to post on social media and do stuff, but I don't. It's the emails. And then you all can write me back and tell me what your 15 minutes is. And we'll be pen pals and best friends. It'll be great.
It's adorable. Okay. Let me just say, I really appreciate you rallying and getting through this conversation with me. It was really fun.
My pleasure. And I will tell you, so my background's in theater. I spent most of my life working as an actor. And one of the advantages to a lifetime in the performing arts is I can rally anytime. If it's showtime, it's showtime. And weasels could be gnawing off my legs and no one would ever know. And after we're done, me and the weasels are gonna go to bed and that'll be it.
Fair enough. All
I
right.
am
Well,
delighted. I am delighted to spend my 2 tablespoons of energy with you today and with your listeners. Thanks, everybody.
I hope you feel crazy inspired now to experiment, explore, and engage with yourself in a way that's really fun and feels satisfying. If you'd like to learn more about Sam, check out her books and classes, maybe sign up for her weekly 15-minute gathering, please visit therealsambennett.com. I've included a link in the show notes. I am so thankful to you for listening to the podcast and for all of the wonderful feedback you've been giving me about how the guests I've had the great fortune to talk with have helped you in some way or made you think or inspired you. It's really cool to hear and helps me keep going. I'm going to take a couple months off from podcasting and get some other shit done. Let me just say that season 7 is gearing up to be another really, really good one, and my pal Linda will lead the charge. Again, if I don't fuck it up. So enjoy the rest of your summer, and I'll look forward to reconnecting with you soon. Until next time.